Hello, how are we? Long time no speak, but we're back. I'm not all too sure when the last video went out and where I was at the time. I think I was probably just at the start of the push-up, but along with it being a while since I've last uploaded, things have changed. The short-term target, the goal, has changed. So I thought it would be only right to give a little bit of an update to people. Seeing as I want to keep these a regular thing, but time of recording this, or the date of recording this, it's Wednesday the 17th of September. So where have we been? Where are we at? I'm going with the fact of the last video being the start of the push-up. We're no longer pushing up. The off-season push has just been benched ever so slightly, indirectly. The goal now is to reset somewhat. Body comp, mindset, and just that drive, that want to things. Why has that happened? Why are we not a few weeks, or at least a month into this push now? The head just wasn't there for it. And I think this is something that potentially some will listen to and think, why? Like, you should be in the off season. That you should be pushing up. You should be doing that. I should, but I'd be forcing myself into it. I got myself into a position at the start of that push-up where I wasn't happy with the look. And I've been doing this for long enough now. I'm happy to say that I've earned my stripes with it to have a little bit more input in where I should be. And it's not because I have issues with, with my body image, or I resent getting a little bit softer in terms of body composition when I go into that push-up. That will soon come. And I've done my fucking stint of that. And that isn't an issue for me. I need to, especially now, with what the goal is for me, to be really chomping at the bit to go into these phases, these off seasons, these push-ups, and my body composition for me, I wasn't happy with. I want to be leaner, I want to be sharper, I want to feel that as well. Would I have been able to go into that push-up and made decent progress? Yeah, for sure, but my head wouldn't have been quite there. And that's something that is very important, is that you need to make sure that everything is in line when you go into these phases, these goals. It's not just a case of you're told so you do. I think there's a time and a place for that, for sure, potentially in your years where you've not got as much experience. But like I said, I've earned my stripes somewhat, and I can have a little bit more input towards things, with regards to my process. So headspace wasn't there. I wasn't happy with body composition. I think it's just been a case of just where food was escalated kind of post-show with the low drug exposure for an extended period of time. That's it. I want to be leaner. I want to feel sharper. I want to hit this next push with some niceness. So the plan of attack now is, I believe, like a 9-10 week max stint of fat loss is what it is. And I want to have that prep like feel to things more so. Which, don't get me wrong, nothing had changed towards my routine over the last few months. It's more so just the headspace, and where where the look was sitting that I didn't like. Had the prep feel to things, if you like. When I say the prep feel, or anyone says the prep feel, it's just the way in which things are going about, and I had all of that, but just not the look for where I wanted at that start. So short stint of fat loss. Not all too much has changed in the grand scheme of things. One, because I've been away for a few days. We was in France last week for 5 days, 4 or 5 days, and then when I come back, Dan's been away on holiday, so there's just been a little bit of a gap between check-ins is all. But I haven't taken any visuals or anything like that over the course of the last few weeks, since the start of this diet phase. No changes have been made since the start of this diet phase, other than the initial adjustments. So, and that was just the reduction in some food, the reduction in or towards input, just some carbohydrates on training days and non-training days. Pull back, nothing crazy. I haven't seen all too much in terms of movement towards body weight, but visually, you know, like the little telltale signs that you can see when you're clothed or in shorts, or you look in the mirror after a shower or whatnot. Some improvement there, but I don't put all too much on it. I kind of disassociate from the visual look of things until I check in. It's really like it sounds like a blasé mindset, but it's not. I'm not analysing or over-analysing what the look is doing super regularly, other than when I check in, and I just haven't checked in, because like I said, I've been on holiday, Dan's been on holiday, so I've not been. I've just been doing the bodybuilder thing, following plan, eating meals, training, and that's all. So I think Dan's back this week, so I'll probably check in over the course of the next few days, I would imagine. A little bit of a touch point. What's occurring? Have we seen any betterment to things? Do we need a little bit of a zhuzh? Turn the thrusters up a little bit. I'd like to be a little bit more, feel a little bit more aggressive in approach for the next few weeks for sure. But that's always the case. That's always the case. The mindset of wanting to be doing more than you already are, and not being satisfied with where you're at. Which is why I won't do anything unless I've checked in and we've both agreed the adjustments need to be made. And that's something where, like, people might listen to this and think, but you're a coach, like, you do this for a living, you teach people how to do exactly that. I do, and I could do that to a degree for myself, but I know where my strengths and my weaknesses lie, and I also know that I would very much run myself into the ground very quickly. I'm my best and my worst trait all at the same time. Like the master of my own despise, in a way. Because I just want more. It's not a case of can't keep accountability. Well, it is, because even if you're doing more, that's not good accountability. Even if you're doing more and you're doing more, you're reducing food of your own accord, or you're doing additional output, or you're taking additional supplementation. That's still poor accountability. Do not get it twisted. If you are not following what has been set, what has been laid out by your coach or by the plan that you've initially set for yourself, that's shit accountability. Good accountability isn't just, or poor accountability isn't just doing less than what you have. Poor adherence. It's also poor adherence, and poor accountability is doing more. If you're doing anything different to what's been set, that isn't a good thing. It's just as negative as not doing those things, not doing as much as those things. So that's where we're at. I'm going to give an update today just on lay of the land, but a little bit of a ramble whilst we're sitting in the car. Cardio's been done this morning. Just give an update there. My cardio hasn't changed. I do 25 minutes of cardio fasted daily, and I fucking love it. That is my time, that's my routine, that sets my headspace fantastically for the day. And that's not something that changes. Like, I will do 25 minutes of cardio, peak off season, peak push, and I may well be doing, I would imagine I'll be doing a little bit more cardio as a means of shifting energy balance over the course of the next few weeks as well. So 25 minutes of cardio daily. I do that on the Stairmaster. I fucking love it. The only days that I don't do it on the Stairmaster is today, the day that I'm training quads. And on that day, I opt for the elliptical. I just give my lower half a little bit more of a respite. I use the cross trainer because it just disperses the workload across more of the body and not just pounding away at the lower. So that I'm a little bit fresher when I go into train later on today. Steps are at 8,000 per day. That stays consistent. That's not included within my cardio. I take my watch off whilst I do my cardio, and that's important. They're two complete different things. You can leave your watch on, your tracker on whilst you're doing it. Just make note of your steps, your step count before you do your cardio, and then less the difference thereafter, the few thousand steps that you accumulate whilst doing cardio. But those are the only changes. I wake up in the morning, and the routine's there. The only thing I'm using at the moment in terms of supplementation is 500 mcg of SLU, engineered, of course. We'll run through supplementation later as well and a little bit more. Christ alive, the clients are clanging and banging. Let me put that on silent. 500 mcg of SLU, which is going to be something I keep in year round anyway, just from a sensitivity standpoint, and it's going to be new for me as well. I've got the wiggle room there to bump it up if needs be throughout the course of this diet phase, but nothing in terms of lipolytics or any kind of fat mobilization, utilization support there. Thyroid's at baseline, so no changes. We're good. We're going to get ourselves home. We'll run through maybe a couple meals today. I've got, like I said, quads, which I'm going to do my absolute utmost to record, but it might be a case of recording and then doing a voiceover thereafter, because me recording whilst training at the moment, whilst on my own, and it's not like a videographer or anything like that, I don't know if it's there, in all honesty. Training for me at the moment is very much like, it's training. It's not training and worry about, is this entertaining? Am I speaking enough? Oh, let me give some more information here. And no, I get in, I train, and that's it. But I'll do my best. You'll see the session regardless anyway. But we're going to get ourselves home. We've got check-ins to get into. We'll get some food on the go, meal one, and we'll go from there. But if you've made it this far already, I appreciate it. I understand that these videos, and this is something I've been not reluctant to do, but I've tried recording a few times and I've ended up deleting it. And that's because I watch it back and I think, this isn't entertaining. And then I had a conversation with Beth, which I'm thankful for. God damn, that woman. And it's the fact that I'm not doing this to be entertaining. I'm not recording this shit to be entertaining. I'm showing you what I do, what a bodybuilder who has achieved and progressed quite well, I'm very confident in saying, over the course of the last few years. This is the mindset, this is the lifestyle. I'm not showing you the car I'm driving, I'm not showing you the house. Like, I'm going to show you what I do on a day-to-day basis that just drives the progress. Hopefully make it a little bit fun across the way. And not completely mind-numbing, but still, thank you for making it this far. I appreciate the views, I appreciate the support. If you can drop a like, a follow, subscribe, or whatever it is on here, go for it. Appreciate y'all. We're just trying to do the thing. Anyway, enough rambling. Get ourselves home, get check-ins done, get some food in the system, because the stomach is right now. Right, let's go. Okay, so we are just getting meal one, or piecing meal one together. If I do it, I'm not doing a full day of eating, but the outline or the skeleton of my nutrition, the way in which I structure my food throughout the day and across the week. It's very, very simple. I don't have like a stupid amount of variety. Like a majority of my protein sources are chicken, salmon. You put egg in there, some beef and some whey isolate. I've got 5 different protein sources at the moment, and a large bulk of that is just chicken breast, because it just, like throughout the day, a majority of my protein sources coming from chicken. Like today, for example, 3 of my 6 meals are chicken breast. No, yes. Then 1 salmon chicken, 1 beef, and 1 whey. So that's where we're at. Anyway, I bulk cook all of my meat, my protein for the day. Air fryer, job 101. I've got my chicken in there for the day, my salmon's been cooked for the morning, and then a bulk of my carbohydrates are primarily white rice, basmati rice. This is the basmati rice I use if anyone's interested. Badsha superior aged basmati rice, and I get it from Tesco, and I've always got that basmati rice. I don't like sushi rice, I prefer it over jasmine rice. Done. But that goes into the rice cooker first thing in the morning before I head out for cardio, and it will stay there until I'm ready to have it. First rice meal will be my pre-workout meal as well. With that being said, I am weighing out my salt intake for the day, and this just stays standardized. This is the exact same every single day, and I've got one of these engineered clickers. These are 500 micrograms per click, so 0.5 gram per click. That is accurate enough for most. I'm using the micro scales, 1 because I have them, and 2 because I've done that for the longest of times. I enjoy doing it. It isn't overkill for me. It doesn't take up much of my ability, and it aligns with how I like doing shit. So I've got 10 grams of pink Himalayan salt, and then I do 5 grams of low salt, so 5 grams, a 5 and 10 gram split here. So my pink salt for my sodium, and then this low salt primarily for my potassium. This, above any hydration electrolyte product that you need, that you are looking at, that needs to be in check first. That, along with your fluid intake for the day, along with like a well thought out, or not even a well thought out, but just a structured approach to what you're eating throughout the course of the day. Your fruit and vegetable intake, your carbohydrate sources, things like that are going to contribute towards our electrolyte mineral balance. But that's my salt intake for the day. I put it into the cup, and then I just distribute that across meals. Simple. But this meal 1, we have 100 grams of salmon fillet. So they're usually about 120 grams. Yes, I do weigh it out. So I've got a little cut off of salmon sitting in the packet. I'll keep that there because Beth will have some salmon later. I don't do anything to it, just max crisp in the air fryer. You've got to get the skin. It's got to have that crunch to it. And yes, I do eat the skin. You should eat the skin. That's where a majority of the good fats will lie. I need some scissors because I need to cut some of this chicken. So again, air fryer, jobby for my chicken for the day. If you're not using scissors for your chicken, when it's raw, have a pair of scissors for your raw meat if you like that. But I cut my chicken up with scissors before I cook it. Then that goes into the air fryer. All I've got on that chicken is some dry herbs and seasoning. So that's just Italian mixed herb, and I've actually got some ginger on there as well. But that's it. That's as much as I use, or the extent of my my seasoning will go to, just because that's what I enjoy. But there's so many different varieties you can have. Now, along with that, I have got 20 grams of kimchi and 50 grams of spinach in meal 1. plop her on there. Done. I'm not wilting my spinach down at the moment. If I'm being honest, I prefer eating my spinach as it is. And that just goes like that. I have to give a bit to Benny. He's standing right here on top of the dwarf wall. He waits for the spinach attacks every time. Dog likes his spinach. That a boy. And then 20 grams of kimchi in here also. I need to get a fork. There we go. 20 grams of kimchi. Good for the gut. Good for the digestion. 20 grams, done. So then onto that goes there. And then, like I say, with my salt, as long as this is done throughout the day, I put it pretty evenly on meals. I might put a little bit more in my post workout meal. But that's it. And then a little bit of, you know the score. This is one of the only sauces I use. Just a little bit on the chicken and spinach. Don't weigh it, I eyeball it, and it stays consistent. This meal, the only thing that's changed since we started dieting is I just pulled out 100 grams of sourdough. So what, 55ish gram of carb we've pulled out there. And I am also going to get my morning sups ready along with, which I'll have just before I eat. So I'm not going to run into everything, but the main ones that let me count these. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 caps of engineered cardiac and 6 caps of engineered hepatic. My omegas I'm waiting to be delivered. I have also got in here 1 cap of NAC, 1 cap of citrus bergamot, and 1 cap of astragalus. The cardiac and hepatic on their own will cover your needs, like for most people. But that's my foundation, along with some other bits that I've taken before cardio. Some supplements that I have in a true. Well, I'm still fasted, but legitimate fasted state upon wake. And this is how I organise my supplements. Dead simple. This is just a Stanley Fat Max organizer. Actually, from Amazon, you can get them B&Q home base anywhere. Why? Because I can adjust the sizes of the supplement, the compartments themselves, depending on. You might have some supplements take 6 caps a day, some you only take 3, you don't need as many in there. And it just saves me space. I just put stickers on the top for the supplements that are in there at the time. If I rotate something out, I write the sticker off, put a new one on. But if there's a little Chinese man, I don't know if I can say that, but anyway, if there's a little Chinese man out there that wants to work with me on creating one of these, but a bit more professional and organised, then come at me. But it just saves having to have, well, for me anyway, having to have 101 different pots and the rest of it, which I still have in abundance, and I've got a huge basket up there with loads of pots in. So it saves a little bit of room, which means I don't get it in the ear from Beth as much. Love you, babe. Anyway, meal 1. We've got 60 grams of chicken breast, 100 grams of salmon fillet, 50 grams of spinach, 20 grams of kimchi. I don't know if you can see, but that's us. What's good? What is good? Right, I've always said how I go about what it is I do. I want it to be of benefit. I want it to be of use. I want to be able to sit back when everything's kind of said and done and know that I've maybe had a bit of a potential impact onto someone's journey. So whenever I try and discuss something, I always try and make sure it's coming from a point of being a positive benefit to things. So I'll usually put up like some question boxes on Q&A, some question boxes, some Q&As on Instagram, and I get such a variety of messages from people. But one that I had this morning, I think, is a pretty good topic, and I think it's something that isn't just relating to bodybuilding specifically, but for anyone in general, kind of all encompassing, anyone that's trying to make improvement towards things. And the question was, when you first started, did you ever get imposter syndrome by acting like a bodybuilder before having the physique to show for it yet? And I really like that question, because I think it's something that everyone encounters, or at least the majority. I know I for sure did. I don't think it was imposter syndrome. Like, imposter syndrome for me, I'm not a psychologist, but imposter syndrome for me is you achieve something, you get to that destination, and it still feels as though your skills, your ability, the accolades aren't true, aren't yours. You don't feel worthy or justified of it. At least that's my interpretation of imposter syndrome. But the question, I do understand it, and it's more so for me, do you feel a bit of a fake? Do you feel somewhat embarrassed? Do you feel a little bit awkward because you're having to act? We use a bodybuilder for this example, but you're having to act like a bodybuilder before you look like a bodybuilder. Fuck yes. I felt that very, very, very heavily in my first few years, potentially. And that's because what you see has an impact on what you think you are, what we see with our eyes. Also combine that with what other people see, friends, family. You're living and behaving in a way that is no different to a bodybuilder with a developed physique. Regardless as to where your physique's at, you're doing the same things. You're eating, the consistent meals. You're training routinely. You're very structured in your day-to-day way of life and the interest towards things. But you don't look it. And that's what a majority of people, they don't comprehend. Why are you doing that? You're not that. You're not that because you don't look like that. Even though you embody everything that a bodybuilder is, or at least the bodybuilder who has the more so developed physique. So it's very much a case of like faking it until you make it, is what I'd say. But the thing that keeps you driving is knowing that it's that super or that hyper delayed gratification. The investment that you're making, it comes to fruition. You do get paid dividends, but you have to invest almost what feels like blindly and endlessly for time on end until you start to see and reap the rewards for things. And until you get to those positions where it might be a certain time, within a certain time frame of your progress, that you start to see the development happening. It might be more growth to an area. It might be an ability towards training or a skill towards nutrition, your adherence. Like, you sit back and go, oh no, it is working. Like, it is paying off. And it's that gives the confidence in things. You only get confidence if you adhere to something, you do something for long enough without seeing that return on investment, like we said. And that goes for anyone, even the people who aren't bodybuilders but are just trying to make progress in their physique, their just day-to-day general feel. You have to be that cliche, or the saying of, you have to be that person, that vision of what it is and who it is you're working towards. You have to be that before you are that. You have to live like that before you are that. You have to think like that before you are that. Some people tap out. Some people can't do it. Some people can't work. Some people can't adhere without seeing that rapid return, that instant gratification on things. If that's you, you're going to struggle to make a really good go of bodybuilding or just progress towards your physique in general. The best at this are the ones that are comfortable in doing the things when it seems as though nothing's happening, when progress seems as though it's super, super slow. Bodybuilding isn't a game where you see progress with visuals all of the time. Bodybuilding is a game where progress comes just through the consistency of action. The physical takes care of itself. But like I said, it's usually the mind, the headspace that taps out first and foremost. I think the way in which I navigated that was just that belief. It was genuinely just that belief. I remember when I started, I knew I wanted to be a bodybuilder well before I was a bodybuilder, if that makes sense. Before I was doing the things that a bodybuilder needed to do. Then you start doing those things. You have to make the compromises towards how you've been living. Had the want, the desire, the want to compete. Like, I wanted to do this, and I wanted to look like a bodybuilder that could present on stage. Like, that was the goal. That was what I wanted to do. So everything that I did, my day-to-day actions, fucking reflected that. They've reflected that. And unless you come from a family of bodybuilders, it's more often than not the case where family are just not going to understand it. Friends are not going to understand it. You often find yourself feeling very, very isolated with that. And you have to be comfortable. You have to be confident in it's going to be a process that you're going to do on your own. It is that just work on self. Not many people are going to get it. I was doing this for years before I started to make contact and relationships with people that did understand it and I could resonate with. And I'd probably say I lost quite a lot of friends, relationships, because I never wanted to go out and drink on the weekend. That wasn't me. I've never done that. And that's what my friends from school do and did. And that's fine. You stop doing those things, relationships start to dissipate a little bit. And I was okay with that. I was probably on my own for a very long period of time. That sounds very miserable and bleak, but it wasn't, because I was doing what I know I wanted and needed to do. If I was doing that on my own, so be it. And like I said, years before I made relationships and had contacts with people that were also bodybuilders, and that was just through. Even then, you're living as a bodybuilder. You're doing everything, and you're not even got people around you that are doing that. And it's like, whoa, what do I have to do to be within these circles? What do I have to do to have the friends that think the same? Where's that going to happen? It just comes with time. It comes with time. All of the people I know now, who are some of my best and closest friends, I would say, have all stemmed through bodybuilding. And they're people that are legitimate relationships. I have legitimate relationships with, and I'm very, very thankful for. But you have to be comfortable in going through that period of, like I said, what feels like isolation a little bit more. That doesn't mean intentionally pulling yourself away. You still make efforts. It just has to align with who you are and where you're wanting to go. So, yeah, I thought it was a really good question to answer. But even, like I said, just day-to-day people who aren't bodybuilders and are wanting to see that change, it's like, no, it rarely happens for them because they're not willing to change who they are and how they're living. They're not willing to be that person that doesn't go out and get rat-arsed on the weekend and, whatever it may be. They know themselves to be that person. They can't be seen as the black sheep of their friendship group because they're comfortable there. The people that make the progress and, again, into the extremes are the people that are happy to go, do you know what, this is going to be quite an isolating process. I'm willing to see to see the landscape of my relationships, my friendships change. Because I know what is more of a priority to me. And that's where we're at. So, anyway, I hope that helped. I thought I'd just answer the question on here so that potentially some different eyes can have a bit of an understanding towards things. But yeah. Okay, so we've now got the pre-workout meal. I am very simple. I think I've said that already today. In everything. Why are we overcomplicating these processes? I don't know. Bodybuilding in practice is fucking straightforward. Anyway, you'll see that across the majority of things. My pre-workout meal at the moment is some whey isolate, some white rice, some basmati rice, some banana, usually some dark chocolate, but I've actually got some coconut oil today, and then just my usual salt into this meal, and a little dash of ground sweet cinnamon because I like the taste. So this has changed since the start of the diet. This was originally 125 grams of rice. It's now 110. I do have in this meal where are we? Yeah, I've got about 43, 45 grams of protein from whey isolate, which is the Mutant Surge chocolate fudge brownie, available and engineered. Billy 10, get after it. And 5 grams of fat, like I said, which is usually from dark chocolate. I'm out of dark chocolate, so I've put some coconut oil in with my rice whilst it's warm, and unbelievable. So that's fine. And I've got 80 grams of banana in here as well, so I've got some fruit. Got a nice little bit of added potassium along with that. And that's it. It's this, or it's maybe some rice pudding or a cream of rice, but it is usually this, whey or chicken breast pre-workout for me, because I know what works, I know what sits well, and that's it. But no crazy changes to anything. Got a good amount of carbohydrate in here. My protein's just dispersed evenly throughout the day. It's nice and consistent, works well for me. And that's all. That is all. But on topic of the Mutant Iso Surge, I'm obviously very, very lucky, very fortunate to be looked after by Risen D under the engineered team. And we've got some amazing products. Like, in my opinion, nothing is comparable in the UK and across Europe, and I think you'd probably be stretched thereafter as well. Just the innovation, the quality of things. I don't use everything that we have on the line because you don't need to. No one needs to use everything. I use what I need. I use what's going to serve me benefit, and that's it. So yeah, also sporting the, I don't know what colour you call this. We'll just call it a light blue, a baby blue engineered t-shirt, which is unreal. A little slit in the neck because the Adam's apple, it means I end up suffocating myself a little bit, or the t-shirt just sits up here, right above the Adam's apple, so a little bit of a slit, but I like the look, I like the vibe of this one. It's like giving the Luke Sando-esque thing that he used to do. So yeah, we'll get this down, and then we'll probably run through some pre-workout supplementation. But whilst we're here, we'll do a bit of a taste test. Honestly, the coconut oil is a game changer. The dark chocolate is also very good in this. I won't chew in front of the mic. Dark chocolate also works very well in here. I put the dark chocolate in whilst it's warm and mix it about, and boom, happy days. The job is a good one. But coconut oil, it's just coconut rice. What is not to like? Anyway, we're gonna get this down. Taste unreal, and we'll see you in a bit. Okay, people, we are going to do the pre-workout supplement setup. It might differ depending on the session, but this is pretty much like a baseline for me. I've just had, or just added a serving, which is my final serving of engineered turbo pump. So a non-stim pump-based pre-workout formula into 500 mils of water. In there, I'm gonna put. I actually put my glutamine into my pre-workout. Just something I do. 10 grams of our glutamine from our range, and my 15 grams of creatine monohydrate, again from Engineered. 10, 15. two just daily drivers. I usually have some glutamine in the morning as well, with my my over-the-counter fat burner pre-cardio, and then my creatine will either go in there or I'll put it in pre-workout. I'm not too stretched as to where that goes, and then into that I just have a serving of Catalyst. So Catalyst is the Engineered Catalyst, is potent to the nostrils, firstly. But this is our our flavour system. It's kind of like an all-encompassing flavour profile and an electrolyte supplement as well. So you're getting sodium, potassium and magnesium in this. And I think for the price that this is, I believe it's £22 or £22.99. That's 60 servings. Let's do the old mathematics on that. Let's say it's, what, £22.99 divided by 60. That's 40p a serve. That is going to cover most of your bases, alongside your sodium for the day, alongside nutrition being dialed in, alongside your fluids, alongside your water intake. If you need anything more than that, then H2 Turbo Engineered is legitimately probably the most stacked, or is the most stacked, and well thought out panel with regards to the hydration formula. But I've rarely used H2 Turbo because I don't need to. I used it for a couple of weeks throughout the height of summer when we was blessed with some sun, or more sun, some higher temperatures just around training. That was it. I don't think H2 Turbo is something that needs to be used year round. I think it's something in just select cases. Again, before buying any electrolyte supplement, this is these are very low down on my list of priority. I would still use them, but only if I had the ability to buy them. And I was before I was with Engineered, so I'll continue using them. However, if I was in a position where it was like I couldn't afford to part with that 20, 30 quid for some electrolytes, that sodium, potassium, your pink salt bulk bag from Amazon or TK Maxx is brilliant as well. And then maybe some low salt if needed. Just make sure nutrition bases are covered. But I am today going to have a little bit of caffeine pre-workout. I'm not a huge caffeine addict, I'll say. I'm not a huge stim head at all. And I'm very scrimpant on how much I have. At the moment, just some dieting, I love the feel. That over-the-counter fat burner with the caffeine it has in there in the morning is fantastic. I just enjoy the feel. I'll very rarely have a coffee throughout the day. They're very few and far between. I can guarantee on a Saturday morning I'll probably have a coffee. As me and Beth, we'll typically sit down for a coffee in the morning, or we'll pop out for a walk and grab a coffee. But I'm just using some instant coffee. Nothing fancy. I'm just having a little strong black. Sounds like I'm describing someone there. Short, strong and black. Keon. Again, I don't know if I can say that. Anyway, that's it. I'm not mirroring how much I've got in there. I'm having this as well because I like the taste. You got that placebo effect of I can taste coffee. I must be having some caffeine, but however much is in there, it's enough. But I'm not getting caught up in caffeine being a vasoconstrictor. Again, why are we overthinking these things? Fucking hell. The people that are worrying about that minutiae, caffeine being a vasoconstrictor prior to training, whatever it may be, man, they're the people that are not ticking the boxes, the more prominent boxes, right? They're looking at pebbles instead of bricks type thing. But anyway, that's the pre-workout setup. We've got a quad session today, so a little bit of turbo pump, some nice blood flow. Needed on a leg day for me, probably not, but I fucking enjoy it, and I want to have a disgusting pump into the quads, into the hamstrings, into the calves, and we've got some abs today as well. Sweet lord, and then just a little black coffee. That's the setup. So with that being said, like I said, I wouldn't recommend supplements that wouldn't use, or it's really important to me that if I was to ever work with a supplement company, Engineered not even a supplement company. I'm getting a bit la-di-da. They're not. It's deeper than that. It would have to have been a group or a people that are genuinely doing it for the right reasons. This isn't for anything other than the love of the game, and Riz and D are both that. So if I'm putting my name to them, you can guarantee that there's reason for it. And I'll always say, like, just look at the engineered team, look at the roster of athletes that are putting their name to these products. We don't get paid. We don't get paid commission. I've got 25 followers on Instagram. If it was about that, I wouldn't be looked after by them. But they want people, and they look after people that live and breathe this, and the supplements reflect that. So these are just a few of the ones that I'll use on a regular basis. But Billy10 engineered.co.uk. As always, much love to Riz and D.